It's your choice.
After 11 long seasons of watching zombies tear our favorite heroes apart, it looks like we'll finally get a break. Or will we? Spoiler alert, we won't. The famous Walking Dead franchise is branching out. Guess Grimes and his family won't be getting some peace after all. So in today's video, we'll be talking about what happened to the season finale, and we'll help you navigate through all of its spin-offs. Let's get into it.
On their side, they're gonna question everything about this place.
Hence the aforementioned uprising.
First off, the season finally ended. The series finale, ironically named Rest in Peace, tried to tie up the show's long-running story and the changing universe in a way that made sense. The ending was perfect because it gave us something that we had been missing for ages. The show tried to make this final season a little more complicated by showing a glimpse of a better future, but overall, it still gave a pretty bleak picture of what can happen to people who are forced to their limits. So, to figure out how everything fits together in this last chapter, let's take an in-depth look at it. Besides killing off a few characters and bringing back a few others, what did this series finale try to do? Heavy spoilers ahead, guys. Brace yourselves. Now for the fate of our favorite characters. People tuned into the finale because the show has been building up to a massive showdown. We love to hate the corrupt Pamela, who ruled the Commonwealth with an iron fist. In the early seasons, Maggie and Negan would have shot her, but that didn't happen. Instead, Daryl became the voice of reason and saved her life. Before he went to unlock the gates for the people still outside, he told the governor that they needed to make a better world to survive. In the end, the Dream Team saved everyone and killed the Walkers. But there were some heavy casualties. We ended up losing Rosita. She sacrificed herself to save her daughter like we knew she would. We lost our minds when Rick and Michonne made a little appearance at the very end. While the ending was pretty satisfying, it has set the basis for so many other spin-off shows. Not that we're complaining. Coming up, what does the future hold for the Commonwealth? After watching the last episode, we know that some of the characters might have had a happy ending and lived happily ever after, but not all of them though. We already know that Luke and Rosita died, plus the Commonwealth needed a new leader after the fiasco with Pamela. The biggest human settlement in America chose Ezekiel as governor and Mercer as his second in command. Let's hope no one shoots the deputy this time. With the full force of Alexandria behind them, the colony might finally get to live out in peace. We just hope that the creators don't cause them any more trouble. We know that 3 spin-offs will come after this one, so things might not be as peaceful as we hoped. Even though it was still very messy, this ending attempted to put its best foot forward after 11 seasons of getting steadily worse. But we're glad that we got a little closure. Now, let's look at all the spin-off projects that we'll be getting. After more than 10 years of gore, zombies, friendships, and foes, the series has finally come to an end. We saw all our favorite characters grow into wonderful or terrible people since their debut in 2010. Some people died, and some went off to figure things out on their own. We saw people fall in and out of love, struggle to find meaning, and do anything they could to stay alive. The horror show has amassed such a massive following that the creators just couldn't let it die out. So now we have several spin-offs that are already in various states of production.
In 2011, the web series Torn Apart introduced the first spin-off stories.
It told the story of the scary bicycle walker hybrid who Rick killed in the pilot. Before season 3 aired, 3 other prequels were released. One was Cold Storage, which was about a desperate man searching for his sister. Another was called The Oath and was about the people behind the famous "Don't Open Dead Inside" warning. And lastly, Red Machete gave us the backstory of, you guessed it, Rick's red machete. There's also a post-show called The Talking Dead that discusses each episode in depth with actors, creators, and surprise guests. So cover yourself in some walker guts. Things are about to get nasty. We're going to help you navigate the world of zombies and men from The Walking Dead. To start with, we've got Fear the Walking Dead. This came out back in 2015 and was the OG spin-off series. The first 3 seasons were set in Los Angeles before the end of the world, giving us a look into how the apocalypse started in America. The second and third seasons were set in Georgia, where the characters were right there in the middle of all the chaos. Dramatic irony shines brightly when people watch a family that seems carefree deal with the problems of being human instead of killing the dead. The show's main character was a high school guidance counselor, Madison Clark, who was engaged to Travis and had 2 kids, Alicia and Nick. As more and more people in their community started getting sick from a mysterious illness, fear took over, and life was never the same again. The next seasons brought back a few familiar faces from the original series, like Morgan Jones and Negan's former right-hand man, Dwight. And if that wasn't enough, the series made 3 more spin-offs. Crazy, right? Up next, we've got The Walking Dead World Beyond spin-off. This series series stood out because it was so fast-paced. This 2-season limited event took place in Nebraska 10 years after the end of the world and told the story of the first generation to reach adulthood in this strange and dangerous new world. All these poor youngsters have ever known is violence, death, and the walkers. The show focuses on 4 main characters, all in their teens. We have the smart Iris Bennett, her brave sister Hope, the dangerous Silas Plaskett, and the curious Elton Ortiz. If you're still wondering where Jadis took Rick in the helicopter in the 9th season, you might get some answers here. At the time of the bridge explosion that almost killed our favorite sheriff, he was in touch with a group called the Civic Republic. We got to learn that he had joined their crew, and they were working together to rebuild for the future. Following up, we have an untitled spin-off for our favorite couple. Guess we don't have to say goodbye to Rick and Michonne just yet. Fans were sad to hear that Andrew Lincoln was leaving the show because he was such an iconic character. In his last episode on TWD, he threatened his family and caused that bridge explosion. But after that, we saw Jadis's helicopter take him to safety. In the OG series, after he left, a lot happened to the other characters, but the show just wasn't the same without him. We were hopeful that he might be making a comeback, and it looks like our dreams are finally coming true. Our favorite couple will be the main characters in a new show that will follow them as they continue their journey among the dead and think back on what they've been through. We don't have all the details yet, but we know that the series is still in the planning stages and won't air until 2023. What's more, we've got The Walking Dead: Dead City. This series is one of the most anticipated spin-offs because it'll center around the unlikeliest duo. It will focus on our favorite survivor Maggie and her rivalry with the despicable villain Negan. These two have been enemies since he killed her husband in one of the most shocking turns of events in the entire series. Since then, she has had nothing but hatred for him. So do we. Maggie and Glenn deserve to be happy. But as the show goes on, fans have seen the two survivors sort of switch roles. Negan has become calmer and more collected over time, but she has gotten crueler. The last season set up an interesting plot arc in which the two bad guys find out they have much more in common than they thought. As of right now, we know that this series began shooting in 2022 in New York and New Jersey, but we'll have to wait till 2023 to see it. Finally, we've got the Daryl Dixon spin-off. When fans found out in 2022 that Melissa McBride's Sassy Carol would be in a spin-off show with Norman Reedus' messy-haired Daryl Dixon, they were thrilled. This pair might be the funniest on the show because they always make us laugh. Whether they are talking about dead relatives or trying to hit a target with an acorn, they truly kept us sane throughout the apocalypse. The series will take us to France so that the Archer can finally figure out how the end of civilization came to be, and whether or not there is a cure for it. That's about all we know, and we're just as excited as you guys to see our favorite zombie killers once again. That's a wrap for this video. Are there any other series that we haven't mentioned? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.